Hello, my fellow readers. This is Dark Symphony 777 with another fanfiction reading. As always, link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story. And finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of the world, so please respect that. So, the story I am doing a reading of is Looking for Saint Nick by Ability King KK. It is a Danny Phantom fiction, and I hope you enjoy. Snow blanketed the entirety of Amity Park as the citizens moved about, enjoying the glistening landscape in the upcoming holidays. One individual was once again a Scrooge. Danny Fenton, aka Danny Phantom, was sitting on top of a building, scowling, as memories of what happened earlier were still fresh in his mind. Every single year. Why do they always argue over this? It's so stupid. Once again, he had to deal with his parents and their annual argument over whether or not Santa Claus exists. He loves his parents, don't get him wrong, but he absolutely hated Christmas because of them. This was why he was sitting up on the building. He wanted to be alone to wallow in his anger. Too bad for him, he was found by a certain ghost diva. Hey there, baby Bob. What's got you sitting out in the cold like this? Questioned the fiery girl, looking at him in confusion. Danny clenched his teeth as he tried not to snap. Go away and leave me alone, Ember. Placing her hands on her hips, Ember glared at him. The hell is your problem, dipstick? All I did was ask you a question. Yeah, well, I'm not in a good mood right now, and I'd rather have you leave before I do or say something I know I'll regret, replied Danny, not even look at her. Ember raised an eyebrow at his words. Now that she got a good look at him, she could see how pissed he was. While most people would have listened to him, she wasn't most people. She came here for a reason, and he wasn't getting rid of her that easily. Seeing him like this, though, she couldn't handle it less like she normally would. That's why she cleared off some snow and sat next to him. Do you want to talk about it? Asked Ember, glancing at him. Maybe if you got it off your chest, you'll feel better. I doubt it, he replied in a deadpan tone. He then let out a sigh. Remember that Christmas when I had to run in with the ghostwriter? Oh yeah, Ember said with a laugh. It was funny how you were able to beat him with an orange. Yeah, well, the only reason I got on his bad side to begin with was because of my parents. Now Ember was even more confused. Your parents? What do they have to do with this? The scowl returned to his face. My dad believes Santa's real. My mom doesn't. For every Christmas since I can remember, they argue over each other over this. Christmas is not a good time for me. Pity was all Ember could feel for the Halfa right now. Honestly, I'd be laughing. You guys, who here believes Santa is real? Raise your hand. No? Just Danny's father? Shame. She never would have expected it to be this bad. Good thing she was here to brighten up Baby Bop's holiday. Well, I got some good news for you, Baby Bop. Baby Bop. I forgot it's Baby Pop, not Baby Bop. I'm here to invite you to the annual Ghost Zone Christmas party, exclaimed the fiery girl with a smirk. Pass, said Danny, causing Ember to almost fall over in shock. What? Why the hell would you pass on going to a party? Demanded Ember as she glared at him. I already told you why, he replied with a growl as he glared right back. I'm not in a good mood right now. But despite I don't plan on ruining everyone else's good time with my attitude, so you can go have fun at your party. I'll be staying here until whenever be a good time to go home. But it won't be fun without you there, Baby Pop. Thought with a frown. Yeah, I ship it. Ember Danny, I ship it. What about Sam? Sam could be a hooker. Sam Maddington. What's her last name? I know. Madden. I know it starts with an M. Madden. Sam the hooker. There we go. I just call it that. That was the real reason why she came looking to invite him to the party. Unbeknownst to everyone, except a certain biker chick who is also a romance bloodhound, Ember had a crush on the white-haired boy next to her, and has been crushing on him even when they were still enemies. Luckily for her, they were no longer enemies, but it would still be a ways until she could earn his trust. Hell, one of the reasons she kept coming to Amity Park was so she could see him. It made her existence more enjoyable. With Christmas trees going on, it would give her the best opportunity to hang out with Baby Pop. without it being awkward like any other time. Look, Ember, I appreciate your concern, no matter how strange it may be, but I don't feel like having fun right now, said Danny as he stood, ready to leave. Panic set on Ember as she walked Danny about to take off. Not wanting him to leave, she quickly reached out and grabbed his hand. Wait, wait! Feeling something jerk him back. He turned to give the Rock Diva an annoyed look. What? Look. Just come to the party for a little bit. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. Just enough to unwind a bit? Pleaded Ember, hoping he would agree. No, wait. There we go. He gave her a blank look that lasted a few seconds before he let out a sigh. You're really adamant about this, aren't you? An immediate nod was her answer. He let out another sigh and reluctantly agreed, which earned him a beaming smile from the fiery girl. The two ghostly teens had made their way back to the Fenton Works to sneak in and to the ghost portal. They had to sneak in mainly to avoid getting dragged into the annual Santa is/isn't real argument of his parents. I'm surprised that a goody-goody like you is leaving your sisters to the wolves, so to speak, said Amber as they flew through the gold zone. Jazz chooses to stay, thinking she can get them to stop when she knows they'll think she's choosing sides. Daniel, on the other hand, I explained to her just hide once the arguing starts. They'll need to deal with that. Explained Danny with a frown. They soon arrived to where the party was being held, at Princess Dorothea's castle. What? Is that her? No, I forgot. It's been so long since I watched Danny Phantom. I know there's like the princess one that turns into a dragon, but it's like I think every author comes with like a different name for her. So I honestly can't remember what her actual name is, if she even has one. I think she's just called the Princess Ghost. So I think Dorothy is just it's just what the author chose to pick. But regardless, okay. Let's go. Let's skip back to it. Walking up to the large doors with Ember holding onto Danny's arm all the while. They were let in by the royal guards. It's a good thing you scared off that prick Aragon, baby pop, said Ember, catching Danny's attention. If you hadn't, I don't think there would be a Christmas party here. You know, I also want to get rid of Aragon, questioned Danny, looking at the girl on his arm. She just gave him a smirk. Who else would be stupid enough to stand up to him? That and Dora mentioned your name. As they continued on to into the castle, with Danny taking in all the decorations as they did, they were stopped by one of the guests and his ghostly teens who were already annoyed. Welp, growled out the robotic hunter as he glared at the two. He was not happy at the sight of his woman hanging onto the arm of his prey. Before you go on whatever tangent you have, Skulker, just remember that there is a Christmas truce going on, said Danny in a deadpan tone, interrupting whatever Skulker was going to say, which is good, because I really don't want to deal with you right now. The growl came from the overcompensating hunter, literally, because if you know Danny Phantom, Skulker is literally like the size of like Danny's head. he's just a little midget instead of a big suit of armor. Overcompensating. Oh, mega overcompensating. Why are you fraternizing with my prey, woman? Demanding Skulker, earning a glare from Ember. Should be on my arm. Last I checked, dipstick, we broke up, growled out Ember. So beat it. Not wanting to deal with her ex-boyfriend anymore, Ember sidestepped a tin can, dragging a blank-faced Danny all the while. Wait, spoke Danny as he once again regained his thought process. You and Skulker? Please tell me you lost a bet, because I can't see you dating him willingly. A grimace appeared on the Rock Diva's face. I wish that was the case. I don't want to talk anymore about that. We're supposed to be here just to have fun. With a sigh, Danny allowed Ember to continue to drag him about until they ran into the Ghost Zone's resident biker couple. Danny, you made it, chirped Kitty as she came over to bring the younger teen into a sisterly hug. Nice to see you too, Kitty, replied Danny, returning the hug, albeit with less enthusiasm. The green-haired girl frowned, sensing something was wrong. What happened, Danny? Nothing. You don't need to worry about me, Kitty, answered the Halfa, trying to give a reassuring smile. But she didn't buy it. Wrong buy. B-U-Y, not B-Y. Close, though. The narrow eyes and crossed arms were an indication. Don't give me that, Danny. know something is wrong. Spill it. Oh, come on, kitten, said Johnny with a roll of his eyes. The kid doesn't want to talk. He doesn't have to. It's only earned him a glare from his girlfriend. Before Kitty turned back to Danny, seeing how he wasn't going to get out of this, Danny reluctantly explained the problem he was dealing with. Ah, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that, Danny, replied Kitty, giving him another hug. That's why I was able to convince him to come here and get away from the craziness, stated Ember with a smug smirk, causing Danny to roll his eyes. Yeah, well, I just wish I could figure out a way to get Mom and Dad to stop arguing. And that wasn't a legitimate wish, Desiree, said Danny deadpanning towards the end. The genie ghost pouted as she made herself known. Oh, you know I can help you out on this, Daniel. Ever since Danny broke up the curse on Desiree, she had been a lot nicer towards the young Haffa. Almost like a second mother to him. Or third if you count Pandora. Pandora? Yeah, no. I know, Desiree, but this is my problem, and I'll have to solve it on my own. I'm surprised you haven't told them about St. Nicholas, stated Kitty, gaining everyone's attention. Kitten? Pretty sure St. Nick and Santa are the same thing, replied Johnny, looking confused. Well, yes and no. Explained Kitty. St. Nicholas was an actual person who lived back in the 4th century, and Santa Claus is based on him because St. Nicholas would actually give gifts to little children. How exactly do you know this, Kitty? Asked Ember. I learned about St. Nicholas in elementary school whenever Christmas time came around. But if Danny told his parents about him, it would end on the argument said it would prove them both right. Danny was silent for a few seconds before he pulled out his phone and started to look up this St. Nicholas to make sure Kitty was telling the truth. Seeing that the saints did indeed live from March 15th, 270 to December 6th, 343. That is very specific. Holy shit. I know for a fact, going off tangent, I know that St. Nicholas was a real person, but the fact that the author went out of his way to literally look up when, like, not only looking up when he was, like, born and died, but the fact that we have, like, recorded history that far back. And we have, like, recorded history, like, thousands of years because of, like, hieroglyphs and stuff like that. I'm not surprised. Okay. Tangent over. He couldn't help keep the grin from appearing on his face. Baby Pop, what's with that grin? Starting to scare me here, stated Ember, worried. She wasn't able to get an answer as Danny suddenly took off, catching everyone's attention. Baby Pop! The rock diva took off with him with Kitty, Johnny, and Desiree following after. They chased after him out of the castle and noticed him heading back towards the ghost portal. Okay, I want to... Is this author made like more than one Danny Phantom story? I'm kind of curious. Because I think like the mom, Desiree being a mom is like weirdly specific. I can buy Ember and Kitty and Johnny kind of being friends, but Desiree, there has to be like a more. He has to have written more than one story, and Desiree just kind of sucked into it. Don't know for sure. Now let's get in there. I don't know. For all I know, Desiree could be just sitting up as Santa Claus. There you go. Okay. They chase after him out of the castle. Oh, yeah, I already read this. What is he doing? Cursing Kitty. He also worried over Danny's behavior. A growl escaped from Ember. She busted her butt to convince Baby Pop to come to the party, and he was barely there for 5 minutes before I hightailed out of there. She was going to get some answers. Damn it. When they passed through the portal, they noticed Danny about to get into what looked like some kind of ship. He didn't make it in, though, as Ember grabbed him by the arm and pulled him back. What the hell's gotten into you, Baby Pop? She demanded as she glared up to him. You just took off from the party. Danny blinked in confusion as he looked at the ghosts surrounding him. I think the better question would be, why are you guys here? You didn't have to leave the party because of me. Well, when you just take off without warning, we got worried, replied Kitty with a frown. Yeah, what's up with that, little man? Asked Johnny. That grin reappeared on Danny's face. You must know. I'm going to take the Spectre Speeder and go look for St. Nicholas. Amber can only give a blank look. What? Danny nodded in excitement. Yep, what better way to convince my parents to stop arguing than to find the real Santa Claus? Think about it. If St. Nicholas was alive at one point, you're going to try and find this ghost, squeaked out Kitty, figuring out what Danny was getting up. Exactly. No. Wait, not exactly. What the hell makes you think you'll be able to find St. Nick's ghost, baby pop? Demanded the fiery girl. Like I said, I'm going to take the Spectre Speeder to go look for him. Planning on heading to the far frozen since that it's possibly the closest thing to the North Pole the ghost zone has. And if he's not there, Frostbite might know something about where he could be. Rubbing her temples, Ember was getting a migraine from Danny's explanation. Do you have any idea how crazy this is, baby pop? I don't see why you're complaining. The one who's going on the search, replied Danny, slightly annoyed. You guys just head back to the party. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. Definitely before Christmas. Just before he could enter the Spectre Speeder, he was pulled back once again. Oh, no, you don't. If you think I'm going to let you do this on your own, you got another thing coming, snapped Ember, giving him a look that said she would not take no for an answer. Everyone looked at Ember with wide eyes. Is she being serious right now? What? Why would you want to come along? Questioned Danny, trying to figure out if he heard her right. Because I know you well enough to know that you're reckless, will do something stupid, replied the fiery girl in a deadpan tone. Somebody keep an eye on you. That still doesn't explain why you want to come along. Shut up and get in if we're doing this. Snapped Ember, fighting off a blush as she puts Danny in the Spectre Speeder. Road trip, exclaimed Kitty as she, Johnny, and Desiree followed inside. Wait, why are you three coming along? Demanded Danny as he stared at the vehicle. It'll be fun. Kitty would say that, replied Kitty with a beaming smile as she and the other ghosts buckled in. The Halfa could only sigh, knowing he was not going to win this argument. Yeah, you already let Ember in. I don't think you have a shot against Kitty and Johnny. Oh, Johnny could just say, I'll buy you chips. And soda? Yeah. I'm gonna resist. Okay. Putting the Spectre Speeder into gear, they soon flew through the ghost portal and headed into the direction of the far frozen. You know, I have been around for millennia, and yet I'm still not used to this modern technology, spoke Desiree as she took in the devices of the Spectre Speeder. I'm surprised you haven't asked Technus for a rundown on what the modern ages have to offer, Desi, replied Kitty, looking over at the genie. Probably because she doesn't want to fall asleep due to Technus's long-winded ramblings, stated Danny, causing Desiree to smirk. They continued onward toward the far frozen, the journey going smoothly, until they found that they had a stowaway. Danny! Cried out a voice, causing everyone to jump and almost made Danny crash. Looking over to where the voice came from, Danny was surprised to find the smiling face of his little sister. Danielle? What are you doing here? Demanded the older Hoffa. The ghostling could only pout. It was hiding since you're the one who told me to hide whenever Mom and Dad started arguing. The Spectre Speeder? Pretty good idea, huh? No one would think to look for me here, chirped the little one with a proud smile. Then she then looked out the window. Where are we going anyway? Danny could feel his eye twitch in annoyance. You and me both. It was bad enough that Ember and the others had joined him on this, but now he had to deal with Danielle too. You want to know where we're going, Mini Pop? We're going to the Far Frozen, said Ember, getting Danielle's attention. Far Frozen? What's that, and why are we going there? That was when Desiree lifted Danielle up and placed her on her nap. It is a realm of ice, little one. We're going there because your brother wishes to speak with the leader about something important. Basically, Danny's trying to find Santa Claus, exclaimed Kitty with a grin, causing Danny to grimace and Daniel's eyes to widen. Wait, we're really going to look for Santa? Squeaked out the ghostling. Danny let out a sigh. Yes and no. Long story short, I'm going to try and find the ghost of St. Nicholas and hope he'll come back with us to finally get Mom and Dad to stop arguing. You really think that'll work? Asked Daniel. Better, muttered out the older Hoffa. Ember rolled her eyes. Just lighten up, baby pop. Even if we don't find old St. Nick, you'll at least have the party to fall back on and get away from your parents for the night. Party? Wondered Daniel, tilting her head. Yup, replied Johnny with a grin. Every year, the Ghost Zone hosts this big Christmas party that everyone's invited to. Hearing this, the little one cast a pouty glare towards Danny, which he ignored. You went to a party. You didn't invite me. Johnny, you're lucky the Christmas juice is gone. Like the moment the Christmas juice ends. Johnny? Yeah. That's for telling my sister about the party. Aww. That's for not giving me a 12-pack of soda. Dr. Pepper? Hell yeah. I'm in the mood for Dr. Pepper now. I don't know why. Okay, so let me continue on. Snowy landscape of the far frozen came into view, and the Spectre speeder came in for a landing. Opening the door, the group of ghosts stepped out onto the frozen plains, dressed in wintry gear, courtesy of Desiree, and made their way towards Frostbite's village. Stupid cold, muttered out Ember as she wrapped her arms around herself to try and keep warm. Let's see what's so bad about the cold, said Daniel as she scooped up some snow. I made a snowball, which she then threw at Johnny. Snow is fun. I beg to differ, growled out Johnny as he wiped away the snow on his face. He then had to glare at Kitty, who couldn't help but giggle at his expense. Hate to break it to you, Mini Pop, but I got a fire core, and ghosts with fire core can't really handle the cold very well, explained Ember. Although in Ember's case, there are some exceptions, added Kitty with a teasing tone. Her grin became a little wider when a blushing Ember turned to glare at her. Diddy raised an eyebrow, wondering what was up with Umber all of a sudden, while Daniel looked at her mitten-covered hands. I wonder what kind of core I have. You'll have an ice core when you're old enough, replied Danny, and I'll teach you how to use it when the time comes. The ghostling beamed in happiness at the thought of her big brother training her. They soon arrived at the destination when they were greeted by a smiling Frostbite. Great one! You humble us with the presents, exclaimed the Yeti leader with a jolly grin. Ember had a blank look on her face before she and the other ghosts turned to Danny, who looked embarrassed. Great one? Questioned the fiery girl. It's a long story, replied Danny before turning to Frostbite. Anyway, I need your help with something, Frostbite. Oh, whatever you need. Great one. I and my people would gladly be of assistance. It's nothing too big, but you wouldn't happen to know anyone else who lives here in the far frozen, would you? Not the question he expected, but Frostbite still gave it some thought. Now that I think about it, I do believe there is one person who lives out just outside of our village. The group was surprised upon hearing this. Ember was honestly expecting this to be a dead end so they could go back home and she could enjoy the Christmas party with Baby Pop. Glancing over the boy, she saw the look of excitement in his eyes. Really? Do you think you could point us in the direction? Of course! Great one! With directions in hand, Danny gave his thanks to Frostbite and quickly took off towards where he hoped St. Nicholas was. Slow down, Baby Pop, yelled out Ember as she and the others followed Danny. Yeah, I want to ask Santa for a present too, squeaked out Daniel. We're not here to ask for presents, Daniel, replied Denny with a sigh, causing the ghostling to pout. His eyes then widened when a building started to come into view. Whoa. The group stared in surprise as they looked upon what was clearly a workshop. At the hustle and bustle of diminutive elf-like ghosts pushing carts and carrying bags of toys for anything to go by. It was then the workshop doors opened and out stepped a large man in a red with a fluffy white beard. Ho, ho, ho! Okay. So, Santa really does exist? Stated Ember, not believing what she was seeing. Danielle and Kitty both started to bounce in excitement, about to rush down to greet the spirit of Christmas. If it hadn't been for Danny and Johnny grabbing hold of them respectively. Stop squirming, Daniel, said Danny as he held his little clone under his arm like a sack of potatoes. We don't even know if he'll be okay with us being here. And yet you still came here to see him. Ember can't point, replied Ember in a deadpan tone. If I remember correctly, the original plan was just for me to come here, added Danny in his own deadpan tone. That way, if things went bad, I would be the only one dealing with it. How I let that happen, Baby Pop, thought the rock diva. Danny then handed Daniel over to Ember before making his way down after telling others to hang back. As he got closer, he caught the attention of the man in red. No? Who is this? Asked the man with a gleam in his eye and a smile on his face that told he knew exactly who was coming towards him. Hi, I'm Danny Phantom. Near St. Nicholas, right? Asked the white-haired boy. Nervous at how this could go. Ho, ho, ho. Indeed I am, my boy. Although most people would call me Santa Claus for a few centuries now, replied Nicholas with his smile still on his face. Now what is it you come to ask, Danny? Something to do with your parents? Danny's eyes widened, shocked that the man knew despite not having told him the reason for being here. How? There is some truth in the old stories of what I can do, Danny, replied Nicholas with a chuckle. And you know why I'm here. You help me out? I know it's asking a lot of you, but I just want my parents to stop arguing so we can have a normal Christmas for once. Nicholas stroked his beard as he contemplated the request. I must say, Daddy, normally I keep my presents a secret to others, as it makes gift giving much easier. Not to sound rude, sir, but if that was the case, why let me get so close to see that you're real? Another chuckle escapes the golly man's heart as he looked at the boy with a kind look. You needed help, did you not? Once again, Danny's eyes widened before his grin matched. They were back at Fenton Works, and Danny had told the others to wait for a signal while he and Danielle went to call the storm upstairs. Phasing through the floor, they were immediately bombarded by yelling, Santa's real! No, he's not, Jack. There is no such thing as Santa. Okay, 0 to 100 in like 1.5 seconds. Danny had to hold back a sigh and an instinct to grab Danielle to get the hell out of here. The two half floated toward the kitchen where the Fenton parents were glaring at each other, with Jazz in the middle trying and failing to be peacemaker. Luckily, the yelling stopped for the moment when Maddie caught a glimpse of her son and youngest daughter. Hi, Danny, Danielle, greeted the mother with a cheery smile. Danny boy, tell your mother that Santa is real, exclaimed Jack, earning a glare from Maddie. Of course he's real, Dad. We even got to meet him, chirped Daniel before Danny could say anything. Jack beamed in happiness since at least one of his kids sided with him. Maddie, on the other hand, instead of being disappointed, was more confused as she raised an eyebrow in question of her Charles words. Danny simply facepalmed. Danielle, remember when I said it let me do the talking? Questioned the older half up through clenched teeth, causing the ghostling to pout. Danny? What's going on? Asked Jess. Please tell me Daniel's joking just to make Dad happy. The boy just ignored her as he faced his father. Dad, you believe Santa is real, right? It's because he is, Dano! Danny turned to his mother, ignoring his father this time. And you believe Santa doesn't exist, right, Mom? Of course, sweetie. But why exactly are you asking this? Questioned Maddie, her scientist side sensing something. What have I told you? You're both right. The Fenton parents glanced at each other in question, more confused than they initially were, while Jazz was wondering if her brother lost it. Danny, what are you getting at? Well, I'll show you. Just do me one favor and try not to shoot at him. Now Jack and Maddie were really worried as they watched their son phase through the floor. He didn't want them to shoot whoever he wanted them to meet. It meant that this person was a ghost. What did this ghost have to do with whether or not Santa was real? They would get that answer when Danny returned with a large bearded man in red. The Fenton family, sans Dan and Daniel, could only stare slack jaw at the man before them. Meet Santa Claus! Or, as he's actually known as, St. Nicholas. The real St. Nicholas from the 4th century, explained Danny. Nicholas let out a chuckle as he stepped forward to talk with the Fentons. Ho! 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 Your son told me that you two debate whether or not I'm real. Maddie had the decency to blush in embarrassment, at the very least. Well, yes, but are you really Santa? Asked Jack. Another laugh came from the Christmas spirit. Ho! Ho! Yes, that is what some circles have come to call me. I remember during my time when I would give gifts to good children, and I'm glad to see that traditions have lived on to this day. I can't believe the Santa Claus is in our home, better not Jazz. Trying to make some sense of this. How is that even possible? Danny just rolled his eyes before looking back at his parents. Mom, Dad, as I said earlier, you're both right. Dad's right because at one point in history, Santa actually existed as St. Nicholas here. And Mom's right because the version of Santa that everyone knows about is just a representation of what Christmas really means. To give gifts to those you care about and gifts to less fortunate. Jack, Maddie, you both should be proud of your son. Not only did he personally come looking for me to help you, to help Daniel as well, said Nicholas, catching their attention. Wait, what's wrong with Daniel? Demanded Maddie, her maternal instincts kicking in. Jack was doing no better as he grabbed a Fenton bazooka, ready to blast anyone who would threaten his little girl. Danny placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Mom, Dad, in case you forgot, this Christmas would actually be the first time Daniel would actually get to spend with family. Really want to spend her first Christmas to be you two arguing? That stopped the Fenton parents in their tracks. Their eyes wide when they realized they could have just ruined everything for their youngest. Maddie could only get teary-eyed as she got on her knees and pulled Daniel into a hug. So sorry, Daniel. We didn't mean to drag you into this, said Maddie as she nuzzled Daniel. Before Jack lifted both of them into his arms and dragged Danny and Jazz into the hug as well. Your mother's right. Then you go. We might get a little too involved in a look or arguments at times. It doesn't change the fact that we care about all three of you kids. No Fenton gets left behind. Remember? Danny just shook his head in amusement while his sisters let out some giggles as all three children hugged their parents back. Once the family hug was done, the Fenton parents turned to St. Nicholas. Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Would you like to stay for dinner? I appreciate the offer, Maddie, but I still have much work to do back in my workshop. Maybe a ghost now. It's no excuse to take Christmas off, replied Nicholas with an apologetic smile. Before you go, a Christmas list made out, said Daniel as she pulled out a list of toys she wanted, causing Danny to facepalm again. Oh, don't worry, Daniel. I know exactly what you want. Remember, I have to stay off the naughty list, replied the Mac with a wink. The excitement in the little one's eyes was unmistakable. With a goodbye and Merry Christmas, St. Nicholas took his leave in a swirl of magic and snow, leaving the Fenton family to themselves. Still believe we met Santa, of all people, said Jazz with a shake of her head. She turned to her brother with her hands on her hips. Only you could pull something like this off. What can I say? Replied Danny with a shrug. I have my ways. Regardless of how Danny was able to get Santa here, I say we get started on our own little Christmas party, exclaimed Jack with his signature grin. It's a way to celebrate the season. At the mention of a party, Danny spoke up. Hey, Mom, Dad, would it be okay if I invited a few friends over? They kind of missed out on their own party because of me, and I wanted to make it up to them. They're ghosts, aren't they? Asked Maddie. Maybe? Maddie just rolled her eyes before giving her son a hug. Of course you can fight them, Danny. The more the merrier. Thanks, Mom, said Danny before phasing down into the lap to get Ember and the others. I still can't believe your folks just let us stick around, said Ember as she sat on the couch next to Danny, cup of eggnog in hand. What I did tell them about all the ghosts I know and which ones were good ones so they can start shoot first, ask questions later, replied Danny. I'm more surprised that your mom and Dusty are getting along as well, said Kitty, who was sitting on Johnny's lap as they both sat at the recliner. The teens looked over toward the kitchen to see Maddie and Desiree, who was dressed a little more conservatively for the season, converse and make the food, although Desiree had to learn what was what from Maddie first. As long as they're happy, I ain't gonna question it, said Danny, taking a sip from his own eggnog. As the teens continued to talk about this and that, the ghost lady decided to butt in. Danny, look up. Huh? Replied the older half-elf, doing as he was told. He gained a blatant look. As his face when he saw what he saw. Baby Pop? Wondered Ember, looking up to see what was the matter. Seeing it, though, she couldn't help the bright blush that appeared on her face when she found a smirking mini Pop floating about with a spring of mistletoe in hand. Danielle, where did you get that? Asked Danny, afraid of the answer. Kitty gave it to me. She told me to hold it above you and Amber, too. Ember cast a glare toward her best friend, with a Cheshire grin on her face. Before you say anything, Santa's the one who gave me the mistletoe, saying that you two deserve a nice gift, replied Dick Biker Chick, snuggling close to her grease monkey boyfriend. Liar! Thought Ember before glancing toward Baby Pop, who had a faint blush on his own. You don't have to do this if you want to, Baby Pop. Danny rubbed the back of his head. Unbeknownst to them, the adults and Jazz were watching from the kitchen, wondering what was going to happen. I'm not opposed to the idea. Well, I would have rather done it on my own terms, said Danny, glaring up the offending plant. Green eyes widened at Danny's words. Did that mean? She had to be sure. Then if you really do want to kiss me, prove it, demanded Ember, even though it was obvious that she was nervous. Danny looked at her with a raised eyebrow. Before he gave off the smirk, Ember laid on a squeak when the boy she loved grabbed her by the back of her head and pulled her into a kiss, much to everyone's surprise. When the kiss ended, he rested his forehead on hers and looked at her shocked and blushing faced. I'll give you another kiss after our first date tomorrow. That snapped Ember out of her stupor and she pouted him. Not waiting that long for another kiss, baby pop. With a laugh, Danny wrapped an arm around Ember's waist and held her close. Kitty and Jazz were giddy at seeing Danny and Emma become a couple, while Daniel bounced in the air and Johnny gave Danny the thumbs up. Jack was proud of his son and went to get the celebratory fudge. So of course it gotta be fudge. While Maddie and Desiree beamed in happiness at the young love. Danny continued to hold his new girlfriend close as Ember snuggled up to him. Merry Christmas, Ember. Merry Christmas, baby pop. Okay, so that is Looking for Saint Nick. I think this is good. Like, the only problem I saw was, like, the accidental that bye I mentioned. And even then, it was the right sound. You just inadvertently forgot the U. I'm not gonna fault the author for that because it's still bye. It's just the wrong type of bye. I like the story. I liked everything about it. It's a sweet little story. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I do want to see Maddie Fenton and Desiree hang out, and Maddie just teaching her all the new technology stuff, and Desiree's just like confused, like, what is this thing? That's a remote. What does this remote do? I want to see that. I actually want to see that. I'm actually curious. Like, did the author do something? I look. Oh, that many stories? I ain't looking at that. I'm not looking through that. So that is Looking for Saint Nick. I like the story. I give it a 5. I give it a 5 out of 5. Neat little story. This has been Dark Symphony 777 and cut.